The moment temptation hits, it feels like a storm rolling in. It doesn't knock, it crashes into your mind with relentless force, pulling you towards something you know you shouldn't want. The grip it has is powerful, a force so familiar, yet every time it arrives it feels like a fresh battle. You don't have time to think. The pressure is immediate. Your heart races. The mind plays tricks. You feel as though you're standing on the edge of a precipice, staring down into an abyss that promises release, but only delivers destruction. But what if the very act of resisting this pull could change everything? What if every single time temptation knocks, it's not a sign of weakness, but an invitation for you to awaken to a power within you that's been dormant for too long? That split second when you're faced with that choice, the split second that could determine the entire course of your day, your week, your life, is more than just a fleeting moment. It's the arena in which your character is forged. Temptation isn't the enemy, it's the test, the challenge that calls upon your deepest strength. In this instant you're not helpless, but rather equipped with a power that can shift the course of your life forever. So what do you do when temptation hits you? Do you crumble, or do you rise, knowing that this is your chance to step into the fullness of who you were always meant to be? The answer lies in what happens next, and it's time to uncover that answer, to break the chains and to stand stronger than you ever thought possible. The unseen battle within. The unseen battle within is not a battle of physical might, nor is it fought on any visible battlefield. It is a war that rages in the deepest corners of your mind and soul. A war that most people never see, but that shapes everything about who you are and what you become. Every day, in every moment, you face choices, decisions, and temptations that quietly test your inner strength, your beliefs, and your values. The stakes of this battle are higher than you realize, because it determines the direction of your life, and ultimately your future. This battle begins the moment you wake up and continues until you close your eyes to sleep. It exists in the thoughts you entertain, in the whispers of doubt and fear that try to guide you into paths that you know will lead to destruction. You might not hear it, but the battle is there, raging between your desires and your purpose, between the immediate satisfaction of temptation and the lasting peace of self-discipline. Each decision, no matter how small, is a move on the battlefield of your inner world. Temptation is often the greatest weapon used against you. It is stealthy, cunning, and knows exactly where you are vulnerable. It doesn't always come as a grand overture. It often arrives as a subtle suggestion, a fleeting moment of weakness, an excuse you tell yourself that this time will be different. And it is in these moments that the unseen battle is won. Temptation doesn't announce itself as evil. It appears disguised as something good, something harmless, but it has one goal: to divert you from your true path, to draw you into patterns that keep you chained to the very things you're trying to escape. But within you lies something more powerful than temptation: awareness. The first step in winning this unseen battle is recognizing that it's happening. Once you are aware of the forces at work, your thoughts, your impulses, the desires that arise from deep within you, you begin to take control. Awareness gives you the power to pause, to question the motivations behind your impulses, to choose the path that aligns with your higher purpose. In this battle there is no neutral ground. You are either actively resisting, or you are surrendering. The choice is always yours. And each time you make the decision to resist, you don't just win a battle, you strengthen the warrior within. Each victory, no matter how small, adds to your resilience, your wisdom, and your ability to overcome the next challenge. This unseen battle is the most important one you will ever fight, because it shapes the reality of who you are becoming. 2. The illusion of control. We all like to think we have control over our lives. The truth, however, is much more complicated. We are taught to believe that control is something we can wield at will, that with enough effort, discipline, and focus, we can dictate the course of our destiny. Yet every time temptation knocks, we realize how fragile that illusion truly is. The moment we're faced with a choice, that facade of control crumbles, revealing how little power we actually have over our own impulses. The truth about temptation is that it thrives in this illusion of control. When you think you can indulge for just a second and quickly regain control, you're already slipping. You believe that one more drink, one more scroll, one more indulgence won't ruin you. But the longer you hold on to the idea that you're in charge, the more powerless you become. This is the dangerous game, the lie that control can be retrieved whenever we wish. The more we give in, the more we lose our grip. Consider the addict, the person trapped by their own desires. They don't start out intending to lose control. They simply believe they can stop at any moment. But the more they convince themselves of this, the more trapped they become. They start out by thinking, I'll stop when I'm ready. But the truth is, they're never truly ready. They are already controlled by their impulses. This applies to all of it. We think we can have it all. Control over our actions, our choices, our habits. But in reality, the moment we yield to temptation, control slips further from our grasp. Every time we indulge, we create a new chain, one that binds us tighter and tighter to the very thing we're trying to escape. We're not in control at all. We've simply been deceived into believing that we are. The key is not in maintaining control. It's in surrendering control to something higher, something stronger than our fleeting desire. This is where true freedom lies, in understanding that the battle isn't about controlling your every impulse, but recognizing when to yield to a power greater than yourself. The first step in breaking free is accepting that the illusion of control is just that, an illusion. And in surrendering that illusion, we finally begin to reclaim what was always ours, our true strength.
3. The call to resist. Dear. The moment temptation strikes, there's a voice inside you that screams for release. It whispers that just this once, just this time, giving in won't hurt. It convinces you that the struggle is too much, that the path of resistance is too difficult. But in that very moment, when the battle rages within you, a choice stands before you. It's a choice that defines your character, shapes your future, and reveals the true power you carry within. Resisting temptation isn't about denying yourself pleasure. It's about choosing long-term fulfillment over short-term gratification. It's about recognizing that every act of resistance strengthens your resolve, building an armor that protects you not just today but for the days ahead. The fight isn't always easy. In fact, it's often downright uncomfortable. But it's in these moments, when the urge feels unbearable, that your real power is forged. Think of the warriors who came before you, those who faced overwhelming odds, those who battled not just external enemies, but their own internal impulses. History is filled with individuals who, at the crossroads of temptation, chose the harder path, the one that required discipline and fortitude. From the saints who denied their own desires to the great leaders who resisted the pull of power for the sake of others, each one made a conscious choice to resist. And it's through that resistance that they achieved greatness. The call to resist is not a call to simply say no to temptation. It's a call to align yourself with something greater. It's a call to remember that you are capable of transcending the immediate impulse in favor of the person you are becoming. Resistance sharpens your focus, strengthens your mind, and refines your soul. The power of resistance lies in its ability to transform you into someone who is no longer swayed by the winds of momentary desire, but anchored firmly in purpose and discipline. So when temptation hits, recognize it as an opportunity, an invitation to rise, to choose to become stronger. In those moments of struggle, you are building not just resistance, but resilience. And with every no you utter, you are saying yes to the life you were meant to live. The hidden power of awareness. Awareness is often underestimated, yet it holds the key to overcoming temptation. Most people think that the battle with temptation happens in the heat of the moment. The urgent desire, the rush of thoughts pushing them toward what they know isn't good for them. But the truth is, the real battle begins much earlier, in the quiet space before temptation hits. And that's where awareness comes into play. When you are aware, truly aware of the way your mind works, of the patterns, the triggers, the subtle shifts in your emotions, you step into a place of control. Awareness doesn't eliminate temptation, but it gives you the ability to see it for what it truly is, not just the false promises it makes. In that moment, you can pause, you can reflect, you can choose. Awareness is the pause that lets you see the path ahead before you walk down it. It's the ability to catch the first hint of temptation before it grows into an overwhelming urge. Think of awareness like a flashlight in a dark room. When you're unaware, the room is pitch black, and every step you take is uncertain, dangerous. You can't see the traps lying in wait. But with awareness, you shine a light on the situation. You see the path clearly, even the potential pitfalls. The power of awareness is that it illuminates your choices. You no longer walk blindly into temptation. You see the alternative paths, the power to choose your response. The famous philosopher William James once said, "The greatest discovery of my generation is that a human being can alter his life by altering his attitude." Awareness is the first step to altering your attitude. When temptation hits, your thoughts are racing, but awareness allows you to observe those thoughts from a distance, rather than being swept away by them. You begin to see that you are not your desires,
You are the one who chooses whether to act on them. True awareness doesn't come from mere willpower. It comes from understanding your mind, your emotional triggers, and the subtle forces that push you toward or away from temptation. It's about being mindful of your reactions, noticing the changes in your body, your heart rate, your emotions, and pausing long enough to make an empowered decision. When you are aware, you are no longer a victim of your impulses. You become the master of your own mind. The armor you were born with. You were not born defenseless. From the moment you came into this world, an invisible armor was woven around you, protecting you from the forces that seek to diminish your spirit, your strength, and your purpose. This armor isn't something you need to acquire or learn about. It's already embedded within you, waiting to be tapped into. But to understand its power, you must first recognize what it truly is. This armor is your intuition. It's that inner voice that guides you when you face temptation, warning you when you're about to stray from your path. It's the deep knowing, the quiet whisper that says this is not you, whenever the world tries to lure you into its trap. Your intuition has been sharpened by every life experience, every moment you felt lost and found your way again. It speaks with clarity when the noise of the world tries to drown it out. This armor is your wisdom, not the kind you acquire from books or schools, but the wisdom that comes from living through struggle, from navigating hardships, and from understanding that every challenge you've faced has prepared you for the next. It's an ancient knowing that helps you see beyond the illusion of temptation, recognizing it for what it truly is, nothing but a fleeting distraction. This armor is your strength, the strength to endure, to rise again, and to refuse to be knocked out. It's the quiet, unyielding force within you that refuses to bow to pressure. When temptation strikes, it's easy to feel weak, but the truth is, your strength is always there, lying dormant until you call upon it. It's the resilience to stand firm when everything around you seems to crumble. This armor is your purpose. It's the reason you were placed on this earth. Every challenge you face, every temptation that comes your way, is a test of your commitment to that purpose. When you remember why you're here, when you remember the deeper meaning behind your existence, the power to resist temptation becomes clearer. It becomes less about avoiding something, and more about embracing who you're truly meant to be. In moments of weakness, it's easy to forget that this armor exists, but in truth, it's always within you, always ready to be called upon. It's not something you build in a moment of crisis. It's something you tap into when the storm rages. The armor you were born with is not just an idea, it's the core of who you are, and when you recognize it, you will stand invincible against temptation.
6.
Why temptation isn't the enemy? Temptation is not the enemy. It's a tool, a challenge designed to reveal who we truly are. Too often we view temptation as an external force that seeks to destroy us, something to run from or avoid at all costs. But this perspective misses the deeper truth. Temptation is not the villain in our story. It is the crucible in which our character is refined. Every temptation presents us with a choice. In that moment, we stand at a crossroads, and it's not just about resisting a fleeting urge or desire. It's about discovering something far more important, the strength that lies within us, waiting to be tapped into. It's about finding our capacity for self-control, our understanding of what truly matters, and our ability to choose purpose over impulse. Temptation challenges us to rise to the occasion, step into the fullest version of ourselves. Consider this. It's the very nature of overcoming temptation that shapes and molds us. The Apostle Paul in his letters doesn't condemn temptation, but rather instructs us to count it all joy when facing trials. Why? Because it's through these trials, through these moments of temptation, that our faith is tested, our resolve is strengthened, and our character is refined. It's through resisting the pull of what is temporary that we are able to experience something much deeper, lasting satisfaction, growth, and fulfillment. Temptation also reveals the gaps in our own lives. When we face temptation, it's an opportunity to ask, what am I truly missing? Or what void am I trying to fill? In this way, temptation can act as a mirror, showing us areas where we need healing, growth, or redirection. It forces us to confront our desires and motivations head-on, giving us clarity about who we are and who we want to become. Furthermore, temptation connects us to the shared human experience. No one is exempt from it, and by understanding that it's a universal struggle, we find solidarity with others. In this collective struggle, we are not weakened by temptation, but made stronger, more compassionate, and more resilient. In essence, temptation is not the enemy, It's the crucible in which we are forged. It's the opportunity to rise above our impulses and prove that we are capable of more than the sum of our desires. By reframing temptation as a stepping stone rather than an obstacle, we empower ourselves to transform it into a source of growth and victory. The power of prayer and introspection. When temptation strikes, the most immediate tool at your disposal is often the one most overlooked: prayer and introspection. In the heat of the moment, when the pressure is at its peak, it's easy to forget that these quiet practices hold immense power to shift the entire course of your response. Prayer is more than a ritual or a religious obligation. It is a life. Introspection is not just a reflection on your past actions, but a powerful tool for self-awareness and emotional clarity. Together they create a fortress of peace and strength in your mind when everything around you feels like chaos. Prayer at its core is the act of surrendering your will to something greater than yourself. It's not about asking for immediate relief or a magic fix, but about reconnecting with the divine energy that flows through all of us. When temptation hits, prayer becomes a channel to reset your thoughts, clear the noise, and refocus your mind. It's the direct line to the divine strength you have at your disposal. In those moments of desperation, when you feel pulled in multiple directions, prayer becomes an anchor, holding you steady in the storm. It doesn't matter if your faith is big or small. The simple act of reaching out creates a shift. It brings clarity, peace, and often answers you didn't know you needed. Introspection complements this by allowing you to look inward. When temptation arises, we often act impulsively, driven by emotions or desire. But introspection forces you to pause, to examine the root of why you feel drawn toward that temptation in the first place. It allows you to understand yourself, your triggers, your weaknesses, and the deeper emotional currents that fuel your choices. In these moments, you're not just reacting, you're observing, analyzing, and gaining control over your own mind. This self-awareness is crucial, because you can only overcome what you understand. Together, prayer and introspection provide a powerful means to resist temptation. They break the cycle of automatic responses, redirect your energy, and help you tap into your true power. When you make these practices a habit, they will transform the way you handle temptation. Instead of surrendering to it, you'll rise above it, stronger, wiser, and more grounded in your purpose. 8. The importance of accountability. Accountability is one of the most powerful tools you can have in the fight against temptation. When you face moments of weakness, the first instinct is often to isolate yourself, to handle it alone, thinking you can control it. But that is exactly where the trap lies. Temptation thrives in isolation. It whispers to you in silence, convincing you that you're the only one who struggles, that no one else will understand, and that you should deal with it privately. But that mindset is dangerous. It's in the isolation that temptation grows stronger, feeding on your silence and your shame. Accountability flips the script. It brings light into the darkness. When you invite someone else into your struggle, someone you trust, someone who will hold you to your word, you create a powerful layer of defense. A trusted accountability partner becomes your mirror, reflecting not just your weaknesses, but also your strength and resolve. They help you see the bigger picture when you're too close to the situation, offering a perspective you might miss in the heat of temptation. Accountability keeps you honest. It forces you to confront your actions and decisions. When someone is watching, when you know someone is invested in your success, it's harder to justify the temptation. You understand that your choices are not made in a vacuum. They affect not just you but those around you. This awareness shifts the dynamic, making you more aware of the consequences of your actions. Moreover, accountability offers support when temptation strikes. It's easy to give in when you're standing alone, but when you have someone you can reach out to, someone who won't judge, but will encourage you, it becomes easier to resist. You are reminded that you don't have to carry the weight alone. They stand as a constant reminder of your worth, of your goals, and of your ability to overcome. Finally, accountability builds a sense of responsibility. It forces you to take ownership of your choices, to live in alignment with your values, and to maintain the integrity you strive for. With accountability, you don't just avoid temptation, you build a stronger character, a more resilient spirit, and a clearer path to the person you are becoming. It's not just about resisting temptation, it's about growing into a person who can be trusted with their own journey and the journeys of others. 9. The final call to action. The final call to action is not just a plea, it's a powerful reminder of the immense potential within you. Every time temptation strikes, you are faced with a choice, to either surrender to it or to rise above it. The choice you make in these pivotal moments shapes not just your day, but your entire life. So let's break it down. Each victory over temptation isn't just about avoiding harm. It's about building a legacy of resilience, of strength, and of an unwavering commitment to the highest version of yourself. You don't just conquer temptation, you transform it. Every battle won is a stepping stone in the journey towards your ultimate self. The power lies in your response, in what you choose to do the moment temptation knocks. The more you resist, the more you forge the path to becoming someone unstoppable. This is how you create the life you were born to lead, by making the hard choices when no one is watching. It's in those moments where the true test of character lies, and it's there in those quiet decisions where greatness is born. It's time to stop viewing temptation as a setback or a weakness. The truth is that temptation is nothing but a doorway. And with every test you pass, you earn more strength, clarity, and power. The journey is never easy, but with each step you take toward mastery over yourself, the world becomes more aligned with your purpose. You are not just fighting temptation, you are discovering the vast reserves of willpower, discipline, and wisdom within you. These are the very qualities that will carry you through life's challenges, both big and small. The ultimate challenge isn't in avoiding temptation, it's in becoming the person who can stand firm against it, unshaken, unwavering, knowing that your resistance today will build the foundation of your future success. You hold within you the power to rise above. You hold the key to transforming these moments of weakness into moments of power. Don't back down when temptation comes. Step up, stand strong, and realize that this is where you write the story of your success. Every moment of resistance is one step closer to becoming the hero of your own life. The battle with temptation is never truly over. Each time you face it, you are called to rise. The moment you choose resistance, you tap into a power far greater than yourself, a power that transforms your weaknesses into strength. Every victory, no matter how small, is a building block in your journey. The more you face temptation and choose to overcome it, the more you grow, not only in spirit but in resilience, character, and purpose. This is not about perfect success every time, it's about the direction of your life. It's about building a habit of strength, a habit of action that places you in control, not of the temptation, but of the decisions that follow. And with each choice, you shape your future self. Temptation will always be there, knocking, waiting for you to open the door. But now, you know that you don't have to answer. Now you can stand firm, knowing that you have what it takes to say no. Victory doesn't come from avoiding temptation, but from walking through it and choosing your path every single time. In doing so, you uncover a version of yourself that is unstoppable, grounded in your deepest convictions, and unshaken by the challenges life throws at you. You are not just a passive participant in this life, you are the creator of your own destiny. The choice is yours, and every time you face temptation, you get to decide who you become. Keep standing strong, keep resisting, because every time you do, you become more of who you were always meant to be.